So what is fibromyalgia? Because I'm sure if you're on my page, you've heard that word, you've seen that word, and you might not fully understand. So let's just do a little Google search here first. Fibromyalgia is a chronic disorder characterized by widespread non-inflammatory musculoskeletal pain, fatigue, sleep disturbances, and cognitive difficulties, fibrofog. It is believed to stem from abnormal pain processing in the brain and spinal cord, resulting in heightened sensitivity. While there is no cure, symptoms are managed through medication, exercise, and therapy. That's what they say on Google anyway. But what is that really? So for me, it's going to be different than what it's going to be for you or somebody else you know, because the one thing about fibromyalgia that you have to understand is everybody is going to respond differently. You can have a mild fibromyalgia where maybe once every couple of weeks you have a day that's a little bit crappier than others, you're more tired, your muscles are a bit sore, it's not that great. Or you can have an extremely intense case where you absolutely need your weighted stuffy to hold against your stomach while you're doing certain things, because otherwise it's painful. It could be that every single muscle in your body is just constantly feeling like it's being dragged to the floor. The way I try to explain this to people so that you can kind of understand how I'm feeling is, if you were to take a small ball bearing that's extremely heavy and put it under your skin every single centimeter apart, all over, that's kind of how it feels. You feel like you're being dragged to the floor, like your body is just too heavy to be in. It also is, every single joint feels like it's full of sand and glass, and just moving, just a simple movement can be just so difficult. And the worst part of all of this with fibromyalgia is I cannot tell you when it's going to be worse and when it's going to be better. Tomorrow, I may feel great. I might go the whole day being able to walk around, being able to do everything. My muscles are not too bad. I don't have to take that much medication. I'm all right. And the next day, it could be the worst thing ever. I could be in what I call a fibro flare, so a flare up with my fibromyalgia, and I can't even get out of bed. And if I do get out of bed, I first have to take so much medication just so I can stand up. And then standing up, I feel like I'm going to fall because my body is so heavy. I could sleep for 13 hours, and when I wake up, I feel like I've gotten 13 minutes of sleep. Headaches, and the fibro fog, oh my goodness. It's like, I just had a little fibro fog moment trying to even think about how do I explain this. You could be having a conversation with somebody and the discussion goes down the path of, we're going to talk about someone's dog. And I'll look at you and I will say to you, oh yeah, wait, what is it? It's the four legs, man's best friend, kind of, they got fur. And someone will look at me and say, dog? Yes, dog, that's exactly what I was trying to think of. Something that simple. My brain just cannot find that. And it's not just with words. It can be mid-conversation, mid-sentence. Your brain just it just can't. It just stops for a moment and you just cannot figure out what it is you were thinking. You might forget why you went into a room. You could just mid-sentence just blank out, forget a word. You really just, it's so hard to explain if you haven't been through it. But for that moment, you just feel like so dumb almost, because it's something so simple that you know, but your brain just cannot find it. And it can be so frustrating because, like I said, you just don't know when this is going to be worse and you don't know when it's going to be better. And for some of us, like myself, it just keeps getting worse every year. When I first got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, it really wasn't that horrible compared to now. I was having a lot of pain. Getting up in the morning was really difficult. The fibro fog wasn't horrible, terrible, and I wasn't on too many pain medications, but it was still very difficult. That was, I think, 5 or 6 years ago now that I got the official diagnosis for fibromyalgia. And now I'm to a point, and of course I don't only have fibromyalgia, I have many other things that are helping that. Now I wake up in the morning and I have to open up my little trusty bag of a ridiculous amount of different medications. I have to make sure that I'm taking them every so many hours. And then I have my box of medication that is my backup. Not backup, but that's where my supply of medication is. And I only put 1 or 2 strips in this bag to take with me outside, because you are not traveling around town with this in your purse. I'm sorry, but you're not. And this isn't even all of my medication that I have. That's just the ones that I'm using on a regular basis or that I have on hand right now. So fibromyalgia is so different for everybody. And sometimes you may have a diagnosis for fibromyalgia and you may not even have fibromyalgia. It's kind of what we call an umbrella diagnosis. Because when you have a chronic illness and you have chronic pain and the doctors are doing all these tests and they're looking through all of your documents and paperwork and your history, and they're checking for certain markers for autoimmune disorders, they're looking into rheumatoid arthritis, trying to find out where is this pain coming from, where is this fatigue coming from, and they're checking your diet, and they're doing all these things. After a while, they kind of just, it's like I don't want to say they give up, because it's not that they're giving up, but they just see all of these symptoms that you have and they kind of just go, well, I don't know. So I guess you have fibromyalgia, because all of your symptoms kind of match that of someone with fibromyalgia. And a lot of people out there are having this diagnosis when they don't actually have fibromyalgia. But I mean, it's better to have some kind of diagnosis than to have nothing sometimes. And then sometimes it makes it worse, because sometimes when you go to a hospital because you're having a really bad flare-up day and you were trying to get up the stairs and your legs just gave out and you just couldn't make it up the stairs, and now you have to go to the hospital and try and figure out, why did I fall down those last 3 stairs and what's going on? And they see on your file that, oh, this person has fibromyalgia. They might not actually go ahead and do more tests. They might not actually keep looking for what your diagnosis is, because, well, it's fibromyalgia, so it's just that. And that can be really not great for some people. And for other people like myself, having that diagnosis of fibromyalgia was a bit of a relief, because it made me feel